All right, the subject I want to talk about is the importance of, as you're coming to the end of your draw cycle and that bow is going over the hump and you come to a stop with a handheld release. And honestly, it's probably the same regardless of the type of release that you're shooting. But there's a really important area that is going to bring this elbow into alignment with the front arm. So as we're drawing, we're getting over that hump, and the bow comes to a stop. It's at that point, if you notice with me, and I'll also bring in a little demonstration here, but I'm trying to draw this back in the same position as when it stops, I can just move it over to my anchor position. I'm not wanting to draw down here to where I'm now bringing it under my chin. Most of the time you have to change your head position to like feel the anchor, and then you're coming down on the string. What I really want is you to draw till it stops, and when it stops, I want you to bring this release hand over to the anchor position. So it stops here, and you're bringing it over to here. Come on in here, protege. This is a pretty new student. I'm going to have you face that wall so I can see your back. So I'll have you right. You're going to be shooting that way to your left. Okay, perfect. Got a big old hood right here. All right, so go ahead and mirror your draw. So I want to show you the importance of this small movement. So right there he stopped. Okay, pause right there. So right now we can pretend his bow has came to a stop. His hand is a few inches off of his face over here. Once that stops, you're going to bring that release over to the face. And so as he does that, this elbow is now coming over, and that puts a small amount of preload right here. So go ahead and let your bow down. Nice. Okay, go ahead and do the same thing one more time. Mimic a draw cycle. Okay, stop. Okay, now he's going to just bring this over to his face, and when that happens, instead of him feeling the tension down here in the lower lat, which is what you're using as you're drawing back, and you're using some deltoid, instead of feeling all that and a lot of this, once that stops and you just bring that over to the face, that slight movement from there to there has now changed the feeling and the tension that you have here to right here. Okay, relax your bow. I know staying at full draw is hard with the air. Let's go ahead and do that one more time. Good job, draw. Okay, good. So you can see this front shoulder is down and forward. There is a lot of space right here for this rear scapula to be able to move towards the spine as he pulls. So go ahead and bring your release hand over. So right there, now that's the tension. And this spot right here, the rhomboid, is the spot that's going to increase in tension as that elbow comes back. So watch this right here. Now bring that elbow to me a little bit. Keep that elbow coming around. Exactly. Okay. So that's such a small detail of technique, but that is taking an entire load from pulling the bow back and now reducing that to a much more finite spot in the back, to where you're going to activate that pulling motion with the rhomboid and not this whole system. That is going to really, really help you, one, learn the pressure, you can let down, learn the pressure that you need on your back wall. Because when that stops, you can kind of feel that pressure, and as you bring this whole thing over, instead of us feeling it low, now we're transferring it up high, and so now we can use that small rhomboid to pull through, and having that smaller muscle used as the activation is going to dramatically affect the amount of front movement you have. Because if you're using this whole thing and trying to pull with the whole back side, the front half is going to match that movement. But if you can minimize that and take it to this small little spot, and it's simply by pulling like this, bringing this over to the side. It's going to allow you to know exactly where you should be pulling from, but also it dramatically affects the amount of opportunity that you have to put facial pressure on this arrow. So as you draw back and it stops and you come over, I've loaded my back correctly, but now I've felt my anchor and I've allowed this arrow to be sitting safely, contact-free on the side of my face so that when my shot happens, the arrow is clear for launch. If you get in the habit of drawing back down here, trying to come up and over, a lot of times what happens is you dig in too deep. You now have this whole thing that's tight from pulling the bow back, and you have added pressure on either the arrow shaft, which is going to affect impact, or the vanes, which can affect impact, downrange, and arrow flight, 100%. Small little tip, big results downrange.